The message came at 2:13 a.m. Not a confession, not a cry, a dare. 3 words. Do it now. My wife's phone lit up beside her on the nightstand. She didn't look at it. She didn't even breathe. She just stared at the ceiling like the roof was about to collapse. Like the world had already collapsed, and she was waiting for me to notice. I watched her. I watched the way her fingers trembled when she slid the phone under the pillow, the way her jaw tightened like a door shutting. She turned to me with that calm, practiced face she wore when she wanted to make a lie feel like a truth. "Everything's fine," she whispered. The voice was soft, but her eyes were not. They were sharp, hungry, like a predator that had been caught staring at its prey. I lay still. I let her believe I was asleep. I listened to the house breathe. The refrigerator hummed. The air conditioner sighed. And behind those noises, I heard the first crack in her story. In the morning, she acted like nothing had happened. She made coffee. She smiled at me like we were a perfect couple in a perfect life. But the message stayed inside me like a needle in skin. She told me she had been talking to her friends about trust. She said they had dared her to test me, to see if I would stay faithful under pressure. A test, a joke, a harmless game. She said it like it was nothing. But her eyes flickered to the side when she said it, as if she was checking for someone watching. I knew she wasn't talking about me. I knew the test wasn't about faithfulness. It was about control. It was about her friends watching her husband's weakness. They wanted to see how far she could push me, how much I would endure, how much I would obey. I didn't feel angry. Not yet. I felt measured, like I was being weighed, like my life had been put on a scale and everyone was waiting for the number to fall. She said the test would last 2 days. 2 days of small temptations, she called them. 2 days of tiny pressures, and then she laughed. A small laugh. A nervous laugh. The kind you use when you want to make your own fear disappear. That was the moment I realized the truth wasn't in the test. The truth was in her reaction. She was terrified. Not of me, of them. I let the day go on like nothing was wrong. I went to work. I came home. I kissed her forehead like I was a man who didn't suspect anything. But inside, I was counting. I watched her watch me. I noticed the way she changed the subject when I asked where she was going. The way she suddenly had errands at the exact times her friends called. The way she looked guilty when she talked about them. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just recorded. I took notes. I watched her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. I checked the timestamps on messages she said were nothing. I memorized the names of her friends like they were a threat. Every detail mattered, because this wasn't a test about my loyalty. This was a test about her obedience. And the second I realized that, I stopped being her victim. I became her experiment. That night, the first temptation came. A man at a bar, a stranger who asked for her number. She laughed it off. But her laughter had a different sound. It had a relief in it. She was relieved because the test was working, because she was not the only one being watched. Her friends were watching me, and she was watching me, watching them. I saw the fear again, not because she was afraid I would cheat, because she was afraid I would see. At 11:45 p.m., my wife got the message that changed everything. Not from her friends, from a different number, a name I recognized immediately, a man she had met at work, a man she had claimed was just a coworker. The message was simple. "It's over. We can't do this anymore." Her face went blank. Like a knife had slid through her. She whispered no. Then she did something I didn't expect. She started to cry. Not the dramatic loud cry, the quiet broken one, the kind you do when you know the lie has ended. I stood in the doorway, holding the printed paper I had left on the table earlier. A single sheet, a report, a record, the truth. I slid it across the table without a word. She looked at it like it was poison. The report was not a confession. It was a confirmation. It was a list of dates, times, locations, a history of her meetings, her hidden calls, her secret texts. She had been testing me for 2 days. But I had been testing her too. And I had found something else, something worse. The messages weren't just about temptation. They were about a plan to make me look insane. A plan to break me, a plan to trap me in a lie. Her friends weren't just watching. They were betting. They were waiting for me to fail. She looked up at me with eyes full of terror, and I realized the biggest betrayal wasn't the affair. It was the fact that she had been willing to let them win. I spoke softly. I knew. Her body stiffened. She stared at me like I had turned into a stranger. I knew, I repeated, because you panicked. She swallowed. Her voice was thin. Please don't do this. I smiled without warmth. I already did. I took out another paper. This one was a list of my own. Names, dates, evidence. A map of their plan. Her friends had dared her, but she had not dared them back. She had not told them the truth. She had not told them I knew. I leaned closer. My voice was calm, the calm of someone who has already won. I measured everything else, I said. Your fear, their excitement, your betrayal. Her eyes filled again, but this time the tears were for the first time real. She whispered, You're not the man I married. I nodded. I'm not, I said. I'm better. She reached for her phone. I'll call them. I'll stop it. I watched her. She was still trying to control the story. Still trying to fix the damage. I let her. Because the damage was already done. She was not the one who would be hurt. She was the one who would watch. The next morning she left. Not because I asked her to, because she finally understood she had no place left in my life. She packed quickly, like she was trying to outrun the evidence, but she couldn't outrun what she had done. I sat alone in the quiet house. The silence was clean. The silence was mine. I didn't feel relief. I felt clarity. The truth had been exposed. The betrayer had suffered, and I had regained control, not with violence, with precision, with cold logic, with the calm certainty of a man who had been tested and had never failed. I looked at the empty space where she once stood, and I realized the final truth. I wasn't broken. I was finished, and I was free.